am
Good.
here with Michael Caven from Viet Nam. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Tom. Hello, Columbus, Ohio. Hello, everybody.
We have a little bit of a delay because Michael is he is joining our broadcast from Vietnam, which is on the other side of the planet. And what time is it there, Michael?
It is 6:07 in the evening. So, when you talk about 7 minutes of sunshine, for me, as your super fan on the other side of the world, okay, it's 7 minutes of sunset. 7 minutes of sunset.
All right. Well, it's 7:07 here in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm going to. So Michael's going to share with us today, but I thought I would. Michael and I did something really, really cool when we were together, and we met actually back in, oh my God, 1991, I think. And we had a church wedding in 1994. And that was a big deal back then, wasn't it, Michael? A little
It was
delay.
a big deal. It was. We called it a commitment ceremony back then. It was a commitment ceremony, and we had family and friends, and it was it was exciting for everyone because it was fairly new. It wasn't a regular occurrence to have a commitment ceremony, and we did it. It was great.
The, we then we together opened up a really cool restaurant. I'm going to show it. It was quite amazing for the time. It was a big deal because we opened up a restaurant that had windows and signage. And back then, all the gay establishments in town did not have signage, did not have windows, and were hidden away. And this place was about the opposite. It was about creating a place that we could all be proud of. And Michael did all the heavy lifting for this, while I got to just go eat. So, Michael, I'm going to show this, and there's also a photograph there above that you can see with Ellen. My head's blocked out, and Michael, a younger Michael, and Ellen DeGeneres is there with Anne Heche and her mom Betty, and they were at the restaurant for Betty's 80th birthday, which was quite a moment, wasn't it? It was quite a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick, Michael.
It was. It was her 70th birthday.
Yes. Oh, 70th. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and show this real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay.
CNN
Okay.
FM, the financial network.
Okay, we've all heard of shoppertainment. Okay, that is Warner Brothers stores, the Disney stores, and entertainment, of course, Planet Hollywood, Hard Rock Cafe. Now, joining us from Washington, Rick Gallagher is here with something that is now being called culture-tainment. Rick, can you expand on that a little for us?
Well, here's one of those concepts that you just have to accept is working. Is that what we have in all places is Columbus, Ohio, a restaurant that calls itself Out on Main, which its theme is really pretty much like Planet Hollywood gone gay and lesbian.
Now, how is this playing in the heartland, Columbus, Ohio? Why not New York, Atlanta, Miami, San Francisco, something like that?
Frankly, the operators of this restaurant say that this works better in smaller markets. And what you can see here is if you look at the store, at the restaurant, is that you have, a very high-class dining experience. You have a wall of famous gay and lesbian people from the entertainment industry throughout the restaurant. In addition to that, what you see is very much a la Planet Hollywood. You'll find Elton John's shoes. You'll find a Liberace sequined outfit. Here you see a Melissa Etheridge autographed guitar. The one difference, however, here is that, much contrary to what you would think, is that the owners say that about 40% of the people who are visiting and eating in the restaurant and spending their money there are heterosexual couples.
Interesting. 40 cents out of every dollar spent there comes from heterosexual couples. So one would think that this is, I guess, an eatery, I can't think of exactly what to call it, is playing a lot better on Main Street now than it would have just 5 or clearly 10 years ago.
Very much so. And when they talk about expansion plans, and very much they do hope to turn this into a chain, is that what they're talking about are other mid-sized markets. They're talking about Boston, they're talking about San Diego, here in Washington, D.C., or perhaps in Atlanta.
All right, Michael. I thought I'd just share a little bit of that. That
Hear
was
me?
it was groundbreaking at the time, wasn't it? It shocked Columbus when that opened up, and our community had a place to go that had windows, was open, and it was all about celebrating who we are. And it was quite a big deal, wasn't it?
It was, and as it was said over and over, we pushed the envelope. We really pushed the envelope, and it was important to have windows. We were out on Main, and we did want to be visible, and we wanted our patrons to be comfortable, our LGBT patrons to be enlightened, empowered, and to be able to hold hands and to express affection. And over time, we developed a very substantial mainstream following. We would call them our hip heteros. Remember that? Hip
Yep.
heteros.
Yeah.
Yes. And every night was a happening. Every night was a happening. You were talking about Ellen DeGeneres and her mom's 70th birthday. Now, Betty had been to the restaurant numerous times over the years because, Betty was an activist. She was on the road all the time doing LGBT activism. She'd come to the restaurant and she'd say, I'm going to bring Ellen one night. One night I am going to bring Ellen. I'm going to bring her here. And they were all in town for a concert. It was actually Ellen's comeback concert, comeback show. And she said, Betty, where do you want to go to dinner? I've got just the place out on Main. So it was really the only time in the history of the restaurant where I spent part of my time kind of being a bodyguard to protect Ellen and her entourage so she could eat. But, at the end, Ellen was very gracious to everybody and posed for pictures. We toured the restaurant, and she said to me, Michael, this is something that I had envisioned doing years earlier when she was coming out, and she envisioned doing a cafe in Los Angeles that would celebrate LGBT history and culture. So it was a special night, and we had lots of celebrities over the years, but we also had a very close-knit regulars, a lot of solo acts. We wanted everybody to feel important. Everybody was important. All of our patrons were important. And, I think about Chef Don Houck, and he was with us almost the entire run. I think in month number 2, he joined us. Our opening manager, Jack Fraley, our ongoing general manager, John J.P. Pinnell, Betty Micah, wasn't she? She was a great bar manager. Rob Tucker, Dean Cox, remember Dean, and of course the great and the greatest server in the world, Brian Hawkinson.
Yes,
we love you, Brian. Love you, girl. And then in the kitchen, we also had, remember, Marty Schaefer, our sous chef, and Jenny. And in the front of the house, we had Sharon Davis. Remember Alyssa Moran, and of course Tina Knight, who kept our place clean and beautiful. So we really had a wonderful family within Out on Main, but then also our patrons. Remember Barbara Havens? Yes, we love Barbara, and of course Bob and Paul, who were the greatest. I mean, literally, we became their living room. They were with us every night. And there was Polly, and of course Carla and Linda, and Jeannie Held and her partner. And again, the list could go on of all of the people who were such an important part of the journey. But Tom, I want to say that actually Out on Main began before that. It began years before. It began, a few months ago, you talked about your coming out story, and I thank you so much for what you shared. But, when we first met, this was difficult for you. The morning after the night before, you looked at me and you said, this is not what I want. I do not want this. and you left the little apartment on Neal Avenue. And I thought, oh, I will never see him again. I was heartbroken. And but then you called a few days later, and we continued our journey. But Tom, you have been so courageous in your coming out. I know courage is, yes. And you were so courageous. Remember the Donato's banquet, the first Donato's banquet that we attended together? I mean, they could have just had a spotlight on us, because everybody courageous in your coming out. It was not easy. And you walked and you took one step at a time. Caven King, who was your best mate at university, he was suspecting. And remember when we returned from the March on Washington, and he said, Tom, why is half of your face red? Were you out in the sun all weekend? So I mean, again, and your coming out was very courageous, Tom. And it was just, I just want you to know, it was an honor. It was an honor to accompany you on that journey. It really was.
Well, Michael, thank you. I'll tell you what, we're going to do a second interview with you to do the values and the superpower, which I have a slide ready to go. But I think I'm going to do a double today, but if I add those, it'll be a triple or a quadruple. So, but I just wanted to thank you for your friendship through the years. After we parted ways, you came to the Equality Ohio launch at the State House back in 2005. You did that. You came for that. And I'll never forget, that meant so much to me. And then you supported Rick, my husband, my current husband. You supported him when he ran for office. You sent money. You said you cried. You were in Vietnam and you cried when you heard that he lost the race. I mean, I couldn't ask for any more from somebody. And although it didn't work out, we both had addiction issues, didn't we, Michael? Yeah. So
we sure did. We yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And
yeah, and and I don't know if Rick is aware. But you traveled to Philadelphia the day after you and Rick met.
Yeah.
And you had not slept much that night. You had not slept much. Okay? And you looked at me and you said, Mikey, because back then you called me Mikey. You said, Mikey, I found him. I found the one. And you had that look in your eye, and it was love. And I was so happy for you. And I knew that this was it. He was the one. But even then, I got to be there kind of with you at this very momentous time of your life, when you had this life-changing experience in meeting your future husband. And I'm just so proud of you both and your beautiful family, your girls, Amaret and Sophia, that you all are making. You're fighting the good fight. And yes, please have me back, because I would love to talk about values. I want to talk about Vietnam. I want to talk about how Vietnam has dealt with COVID. I want to talk about my trips to Peru. And there is so much more to talk about. But thank you for fighting the good fight. And I feel the same way. I've been teary-eyed all afternoon, just going through all the memories of the restaurant and after the restaurant. And all these years later, it is. I feel so grateful, to be able to watch you and Rick do the amazing things that you're doing, and also to stay connected with your family, whom I love very, very much, and I appreciate deeply. It was an honor to be a member of the family for 10 years. So thank you so much.
Well, Michael, I got to wrap up. Thanks for joining me this morning from Vietnam. Okay. Where there's little COVID. There's very little COVID there because they know what they're doing. So I'm going to have you back in a couple of weeks. We will finish this up. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of my life. And thank you for making such a huge difference with Out on Main Restaurant.
Thank you, Tom. And goodbye, Columbus. Goodbye, everybody. See you again in a couple of weeks.
And remember, Michael, even when it's really damn cloudy out, the sun is always shining, right?
And the sunset as well on the other side of the world.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.